We've all been there, right? You're standing in the produce aisles, staring down two identical apples. One is just, a regular apple, and the other costs almost twice as much just because it's rocking this tiny green organic sticker. Organic food has absolutely exploded. It's one of the fastest growing trends in wellness, and it promises better health, a cleaner lifestyle, the whole shebang. But today in this explainer, we're going to strip away all that marketing hype and look at the actual hard science. So here is the core question we're tackling today. Is organic food automatically healthier? Like, does that little green label literally guarantee a safer, better choice for you and your family? Or is the truth kind of much more complicated than the hype? Let's dive right in and find out. Here's a quick look at our roadmap for today. First, we'll nail down what organic actually means, tackle the great nutrition debate, and talk about pesticides in your health. Then we'll zoom out to the environmental health benefits, bust some really common organic myths, and wrap up with what actually matters most for your daily diet. Okay, moving right into section 1. What does organic mean? Specifically, the farming standards. Before we can even start debating health, we really need a baseline. Like, what does it actually take for a farm to get that label? Well, organic foods are produced under super strict farming standards. These rules strictly prohibit synthetic pesticides, artificial fertilizers, GMOs, and certain growth hormones. So the absolute key takeaway here? The word organic describes how a food was grown. It's basically a farming method, not this magical automatic guarantee of its nutritional value. Let's put the two approaches side by side. On one hand, organic farming relies heavily on natural methods. We're talking composting, crop rotation, and biological pest control. On the other hand, conventional farming uses regulated synthetic inputs to really maximize crop yield. Now, I know it's super easy to assume that natural farming automatically equals a cleaner, healthier product for your body, but as we're going to see, farming methods alone don't just dictate nutrition. And honestly, that leads us perfectly into section 2, the great nutrition debate. Does organic actually mean more nutrients? Okay, this is the big one. We often shell out extra cash, right? Totally believing that organic food is just packed with way more vitamins. But the science? Well, it's a bit of a reality check. Organic produce might contain slightly higher levels of certain antioxidants. But, and this is a massive, absolutely crucial but, the differences are incredibly modest. Actually, when experts measure the core nutrients, your protein, fiber, essential vitamins, and minerals, organic and conventional foods are practically identical. Crazy, right? Let's be real for a second here. An organic gummy bear is still a gummy bear. An organic cookie is still a cookie. Nutrition experts agree across the board on this. A conventional, fresh, whole food, like a regular apple, is always going to outshine a highly processed organic snack. That little green label doesn't magically erase empty calories or sugar. Ultimately, your health hinges on eating nutrient-dense whole foods, not the specific farming practices behind them. All right, let's switch gears and move to section 3 to tackle what is arguably the biggest fear for most shoppers: pesticides and your health, understanding exposure and safety. Look, it is absolutely true that organic farming restricts synthetic chemicals, and yeah, that leads to lower pesticide residues. But if buying conventional produce makes you anxious, please don't panic. First off, conventional foods in the US and Canada have to meet incredibly strict, highly monitored safety limits. They don't just let anything onto the shelves. And second, simply giving your produce a really good wash significantly reduces any lingering residues. And that goes for both conventional and organic foods. Seriously, the absolute worst thing you can do for your body is to skip your veggies entirely just because the organic option is too expensive. Now, let's move to section 4 and zoom out a bit. We're looking at the environmental health benefits, going way beyond just personal nutrition. When we debate if organic is healthier, we really shouldn't just be looking at our own bodies. We need to look at the planet. And this is where organic farming truly shines. It's fantastic for environmental health. It supports improved soil quality, fosters greater biodiversity, and leads to a massive reduction in synthetic chemical use. For a lot of shoppers, buying organic isn't just about vitamins. It's about aligning with broader eco-friendly values and protecting our agricultural ecosystems for future generations. All right, let's transition into section 5, busting common organic myths. It's time to separate fact from fiction. Here is myth number 1, and trust me, it's a very common one. People constantly ask, is organic food completely pesticide-free? The answer is false. Organic definitely does not mean chemical-free. I know, shocking, right? Organic farmers are absolutely permitted to use pesticides as long as they are derived from natural sources and approved by organic standard boards. So it really just changes the type of pesticide used, not the total absence of it. Moving on to myth number 2, which tackles a lot of the fear-mongering we sometimes see floating around the wellness space. Is conventional food unsafe to eat? Again, totally false. Conventional foods are heavily regulated. They literally must pass strict food safety standards and strict residue limits before they ever even see the inside of a grocery store. Let me be clear, you are not poisoning yourself by eating a conventional carrot. In fact, by eating vegetables at all, you are doing your body a massive favor. Let's move to our final section and see how this all builds together. Section 6. What actually matters most? We're looking at the true foundations of a healthy diet. If you strip away all the trendy marketing and those crazy premium price tags, the healthiest diets worldwide all share the exact same core characteristics. They focus on plenty of fruits, vegetables, whole grains, and lean proteins, while limiting ultra-processed foods. Eating a conventional floret of broccoli is infinitely, and I mean infinitely, better than skipping it entirely just because you couldn't find an organic one. When we weigh the overall impact, the verdict is pretty clear. The organic label offers a modest difference in personal health, mostly by reducing your exposure to certain synthetics and supporting the environment, which is great. But focusing your energy on eating whole foods, now that creates a massive, significant difference in your well-being. Organic is a fantastic choice if it fits your budget and your values, absolutely. But it should never, ever be a barrier to eating a healthy diet. I want to leave you with this empowering thought today. Good nutrition starts with what you eat regularly, not just what's printed on the front of the package. Real, whole foods are the true champions of your diet. So the next time you find yourself standing there weighing your options in the produce aisle, ask yourself, are you optimizing for a premium label? Are you optimizing for the daily, consistent habits that will actually transform your health? Think about it.